Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Innkeeper, and today I would like to welcome you all to another Stonehearth time-lapse. Today we're going to be doing our Dwarven Entrance in the Darkstone series. I felt like it was a good idea to do a time-lapse for this, other than just doing the whole building during the actual series. 'Cause I feel like it would have just took me at least 6 episodes to get the design done, and then probably another 2 or 3 to see if the dwarflings will actually construct it, and then, well, see if they do actually construct it. They might not immediately, and then we'll just sort of spawn it in. We'll see. We will see a spawned-in version of the final design, just so you can all have a nice little look at it. But we will be sort of constructing it, and there's still a few bits and bobs that are not finished with the Dwarven Entrance, just because I want to leave a few bits for our actual series. So there we are, just doing a time-lapse for it. This should come out before the next episode, and then after, well, the next episode of the Darkstone series, which I think is episode 21. That will be when we start to construct everything. It should be nice and fun. As you can see right here, I'm paying attention to the walls right now. So because we've got this little curvature going in as it sort of slowly, not straightens up, it slowly narrows as it gets closer to where the entrance will be. I'm trying to make a nice little curve in that hopefully nicely connects up to the main wall right here. Now, already I found a problem in that idea, and I'm going to be changing it, as you'll probably end up seeing it soon. I say probably, you will end up seeing it soon. It's quite late right now, so I'm a little bit just sort of all over the place. I've been all over the place today, really, when it comes to everything. So there we are. I do apologize for that. So as you can already see, the pattern doesn't make any sense. It's all over the place. I was trying to do a little indent every other block, but to make sure the side or corner blocks of each segment was not it was dividing, as it were, and it was a solid block, and it wasn't just one of the bits in the middle, the hollow areas. And it's always this sort of nice design that I go to. It's a nice design that I go for. It's sort of a go-to for me, really, when it comes to constructing any kind of wall, because it always looks good no matter what you're trying to do. I do attempt to make some sort of weird brazier stands right here. It doesn't really end up very well. I end up just sort of using the general braziers on top of this soon-to-be walls right here. I guess calling them walls isn't really a good idea. It's sort of like a little barricade or nice little decoration, really. They look a bit like walls, and I suppose you could use them as some sort of defensive structure, but it wouldn't really make too much sense, because you could easily get people are going to walk in. So it might work out. I don't know, but there's no real dedicated way to get up and down. The Earthlings can do it, or Dwarflings, shall I say, can get up and down the wall, but it's not great. So it's very precarious, shall I say. So as you can see right here, what I'm using is odd-numbered reaches right here, between numbers 5 and 3, or using numbers 5 and 3 right here, 9, 5, and 3, I believe, in order to actually get an indent in the middle of each segment. That definitely does help with the main design right here. I use an array of the 3 stone colors right here, being the dark one, the slightly darker gray, and then the light gray. I do try to use all of them without having one of them overpowering the other, unless it really needs to do so. But I want to try and make this design as detailed as I possibly can. I don't really end up using too much other colors other than the flooring later on. I end up using the chalk, I believe, for the first 2 layers, and then the checkerboard stone for the final layer, which does look really good. It helps to accentuate the doorway, and it looks fantastic. I think, anyway, it will look fantastic, as you will end up seeing in the video. Right now, I'm just sort of trying to make a little stairway right here. This is sort of design that I go back on. Originally, it was like, okay, we'll make a stairway, because that would be kind of cool, but I end up flattening it and just making it into some sort of walkway, which ends up looking quite nice. I do end up putting down some tower braziers, 3 of them, on top of every wall, sort of liberally, I suppose, separated from one another. There's not too many of them. I suppose that will just come down to personal preference, I suppose, as you can see right here, walling it all off. I'm just sort of just flying all over the map right there, just trying to get a good angle on the whole thing. It's like my first design. And then I'm doing the same thing with every other corner, obviously changing it based on the actual width, as it does narrow the further in you get. I am making a lot of flooring designs right here, as you can see, the sort of darker border with the main dark grey. Actually, I think that's light grey sort of main walkway. I do end up making a dark grey walkway that is just specifically the size of the doorway that you will be seeing soon, just because it helps to make a sort of a straight path that is very clean cut, easy to see, just straight to the doorway. It looks very cool. It makes the pathway look a little bit more detailed as well. Before it looked kind of bland, and it still sort of does now. Well, the way you're seeing it right now is the bland variant, I mean. And when that little dark spot is something so simple that just helps to make the roadway just a lot more interesting. I need to calm down. I need to take a drink. Ugh. It's been a very exciting day for me. I've had a lot of fun building this. I've done the Stonehearth recordings as well, and it's been very good, very enjoyable indeed. So as you can see, I'm just sort of outlining with the dark stone right here. Definitely using it to my advantage in comparison to probably the lighter stone. The lighter stone, or lighter grey and darker grey, are very, very difficult to really tell the difference of unless you get really close. Unless, of course, there is a large pool of a certain quantity of a particular shade, and then it becomes a lot easier to see the other one. What I'm doing right now is creating these little pedestals for the mason brazier table. That one right here, the one with the double lit. It just looks, double braziers. It just looks so dwarven. It's great, and I do end up using it, and it's constantly lit as well, which is also fantastic. As you can see, once again, just sort of going against the design right here that I originally planned, just because it's much easier to work with. I had so much trouble building over the iron. You can't do it. So I had to use a bunch of sort of little tricks here and there. It wasn't too crazy. But yeah, a little bit of trouble, as you may end up noticing. Just, I ended up having a little bit of time hanging around that iron. Just following the same design, as you can see right there, mucking around with the iron. Following the same design as with the other wall, I do I copy this design on all parts of the wall. I don't make too much of a differentiation, other than, of course, the brazier pedestal, which is on the middle section right here that I'm working on. That is different to the front. I'm not too sure if I will be ending up changing the front. I'm still thinking about it, just because I feel like it's good enough, and I don't want to detract from the epicness that is the doorway. It's meant to be the main part, and I don't want anything, as I just said, to detract from that sort of epic, monolithic, not really monolithic, it's a bit of a grand word. The doorway's not absolutely huge, but it is big enough, I would say. It's much bigger than the current doorway they have to our little outpost area in Darkstone. If you do watch the series, maybe you don't, you just want to watch a time lapse, that's fine. Still cool to see. I've run out of water. I thought I got to get some water, but apparently not. So it looks like I'm just going to go in all by myself now at this point. So just following on, making some more of the walls. It probably will be a good idea for me to just sort of skip the remainder of the wall construction, because it's pretty much the same from this point in. There we are. So hopefully I'm not too out of sync. You should be seeing now the construction of the Dwarven Entrance. I do like the look of this entrance, the final design. I feel like the top could probably do with a little bit of extra work. We will get there when the time comes. So what I'm using right now is the general Dwarven design that we've picked, which is just sort of try to go with a lot of shape. We're using a lot of squares right now, and I do take a lot of royalties, as it were, from the design that I created on our little outpost sort of gateway. As you can see, I'm just sort of looking at it, figuring out the best design to go for. And I do really try to accentuate, a big word that I use apparently, the squares around it by just adding a little bit of an indent, so it's sort of the main structure of our design right here. And I do end up doubling the width of the gateway as well, just because it made it look a little bit more menacing, a little bit more fortified, protected, more dwarven, all of these happy words. Unfortunately, something I forgot to mention, I don't end up using these statues in this. They just looked too big. They didn't look right at all. It was weird, but you should be able to see a comparison on the Darkstone videos that I eventually will put out after this one. But it just didn't look right at all, so I have to end up making something different. Well, I'm probably end up trying to make a statue again, but I have to change the size of it, or do something with them that's a little bit different. But at the moment, they're just too big. They look really dodgy. They don't fit on the current sort of layers that I have right there. So we will see. I did try to sort of put some color into those little dots. I wanted to put red on one side, blue on the other to sort of represent the different clans that we have. Sort of the militaristic one and the economic clan. Red, militaristic, blue, economic. I do end up using the the tiles right there. The stone tiles, as I mentioned before. And they do look really good in just helping to make the doorway look that much more epic. But the tier as well, and the level of the entrance, it just makes it look a little bit cleaner, and it's a little bit more well kept. I end up using the sort of chalk road, I believe it's called, which definitely looks quite nice, but nowhere near as luxurious, I would say, or well kept as the stone sort of checkered floorboard thing. I don't know why I always have trouble naming it. Just kitchen floor, dwarven kitchen floor. There we go. I prefer that. That's much easier to distinguish. Anyway, so now I'm connecting up the main entrance to the stone surface. It does look kind of cool. I do end up making sort of a little break, as it were, between the actual light grey stone and the stone brick by just using a dark stone right here. It's quite nice. Makes it look like it's connected. I muck around with the middle a little bit more. End up making some more squares because I feel like they sort of act as joints, connectors to add structural integrity to the actual design. So I wanted to add 2 more on the middle right there, almost looking like eyes, like an overseer looking over the land, the Dwarven King. Here right now I'm using sort of the chalk for the sort of next 2 levels. I do end up using the lighter version of the flooring as well for the final level, but I end up going back to chalk just because it's much darker and more dwarven looking. I sort of wanted to show like tiers, as it were. That's what I was trying to go for. Different tiers, and it gets darker the further up you go, or more stone-like anyway. But it didn't really work out, so I ended up just going for the full chalk and then the stone at the top. And it definitely helps to make the top just look that little bit more dwarven, much more structurally... what was I going to say? It's much stronger looking, is what I'm trying to say. More resources have been put into that particular area. So, you know, you don't want to attack that bit. Even though you can only get to that bit by going past the 2 chalk areas. Not only that, but it helps to differentiate the floor a little bit more. Helps to accentuate the tiers that I have right here. Sort of going all the way up. Now I'm adding some little... fire pieces right here, being the mason braziers, the flags right here. Those are the standards. I'm worried if the Herflings might end up going towards them. I had the fountains, some benches, and some more other braziers. And as you can see right here, this is the final design. I feel like I rushed this a little bit. I'm sweating. It's bad right now. Let's take a drink. I did end up getting some more water. So there we go, because I had a bit of a choke earlier. Just, need more water, I'm dying. The braziers look wonderful in this picture. Unfortunately, I don't think I have a dark... I didn't do a recording for the dark overview, so hopefully you'll get to see that in the future. I imagine you will, but hopefully you've enjoyed what you have seen so far, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fantastic looking entrance. I really like it. There is bits missing, like the statues, for instance. We could definitely put some statues on the higher level right there. They just need to be smaller. That's all. Smaller, and we'll probably need to make them so they have a shield and a sword instead. Or maybe an axe. I feel like an axe is more dwarven. The maces are cool, but, you know, they don't really have the same feel to them. Or maybe an axe, no, a shield needs to be involved, is what I'm trying to say. A shield and a mace. Or a shield and axe. Or a shield and a sword. Although I feel more like going for the blunt or very heavy weapons. The sword doesn't really feel like a dwarven weapon, so I probably won't end up doing that. But there we are. The entrance... As stated before, the sort of darker pathway right there, almost acting like a carpet going towards the main entrance. I think it looks great. I bumped the microphone there. Hopefully that didn't cause any loud noises. And this is the start of the Darkstone journey, ladies and gentlemen. This is when we venture down into the mines of Darkstone, find a Balrog, get absolutely wrecked, run over to a Misty Mountain, get absolutely wrecked. It's a horrible journey, but it'd probably be a good one. I imagine so. So many references today. It is an unexpected journey. There we go. Too many references, apparently. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, do apologize if it sounded like I rushed this. I kind of did a little bit. I've done quite a lot today. So there we are. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourselves. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter. for updates on my channel, and Twitch for live streams. If you want to watch any other time-lapse videos, if you're new to my channel, then feel free to look at my time-lapse playlist. I do believe I have a time-lapse playlist for all Stonehearth time-lapses. It's not the first time-lapse I've ever made, but I haven't done one in a little while. I think it was a month ago now when I made the Dwarven statue, so I feel like I will make one of these every now and again, and this is definitely a good opportunity to do so. So thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye-bye.